You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the corruption detector, and this is your Red Pill News. Hope everyone's had a good weekend. We had a couple of great live streams over the weekend. Hugo Fugan on Friday, and then Jeffrey Peterson on Saturday. Also on Friday in the second hour, Cindy Absug and Olivia Pleasant. Great conversations, guys. Go ahead and check those out if you haven't seen them yet. 2 hours of just incredible information last night from Jeff, and I can't wait to have him back on in an amazing perspective. Lots of things that people have not thought about if you don't know about the politics down in Mexico. Also, when you realize exactly how powerful those people are in the PRI in Mexico, and you put it together with some of the things happening here, especially with regards to the border, human trafficking, and drug trafficking, everything starts to make sense when we're thinking about the behavior of the Democrats. Now, first of all, today, I want to open up with this tweet from Donald Trump. Notice this on Friday night. This is a tweet that he put out, which shows Steve Bannon having a conversation on a news channel. He says, "Nice to see one of my best pupils is still a giant Trump fan. Steve joined me after I won the primaries, but I loved working with him." So what we're going to do is I want you to pay attention to that ticker down at the bottom. There's going to be a particular company that comes up, and it's repeated multiple times. If you notice before and after, all of the other companies in the stock ticker are only shown once. So let's take a look.
I don't know how much you saw of the debates, but I'm sure you read about them. At least, do you think that Biden is the front runner, or I don't know. I think that maybe Kamala Harris. I've heard people say she's in the pole position right now. What's your view on that?
Well, first off, I don't think Joe Biden. Look, on the polling and whatever this polling is, I just don't see if the Democratic Party want to take on Donald Trump.
All right, I hope that you saw that. It shows Invesco, QQQ, Trust. Now, it went to Yandex, but now it's going to go back to Invesco, QQQ, Trust Q. Look.
I got news flash for them. They're not going to take on Donald Trump or Joe Biden. He's not going to be able to stand up to the withering assault that Donald Trump. You've got to bring it. You've got to know how to hit a fastball. And Joe Biden's days of hitting a fastball.
And now it says QCOM, and then back to Invesco Q. Learn the comms, QCOM. And it shows Invesco Q so many times. Everything else is only shown once. Clearly, I think that this is meant for us to see. Over and over again, we are seeing Trust Q, Trust Q, Trust Q. And this is right after we had the FBI come out and say this information about domestic terror information, trying to pin these things on us. And then the tragic events in El Paso and now Dayton as well. I really feel like President Trump is letting us know that we need to trust him, we need to trust the plan, and we just need to keep our eyes open. If there was ever a proof, this is it. Now next, speaking of El Paso, we've got more to this incident than meets the eye. Sources are telling a reporter at the Washington Examiner things like there is a second individual who was taken out by police, and that El Paso itself was chosen for a reason. There was also another Walmart nearby that was abruptly closed as a result of this incident. Washington Examiner reporter Anna Giartorelli posted several tweets on Saturday night about the casualty event at the El Paso Walmart and Cielo Vista Mall that unfortunately removed 20 souls from this earth and wounded 26 others. Giartorelli stated there is more to the story than is being told, according to her sources. Giartorelli says a law enforcement source, the same one who gave the name and age of the arrested suspect, Patrick Crusius, has told her a second suspect was taken out by police, noting that this contradicts the story told by the mayor. She also says there's a reason that the suspect committed the attack in El Paso rather than his hometown of Allen, Texas, and she pointed out a nearby Walmart that abruptly closed Saturday afternoon after consulting with law enforcement. That Walmart, located in Socorro, Texas, is just about 15 miles southeast of El Paso. There is Patrick right there in the back of the police cruiser. She says, according to my law enforcement source in El Paso, who gave me the apprehended individual's name and age, a second suspect was taken out when police responded to the Walmart incident. Police have not disclosed this info yet, and the mayor says otherwise, but my source says the second suspect is no longer with us. There's a reason the Walmart person in custody went to El Paso instead of carrying out the attack in his hometown in Allen, Texas. I can't share info yet, but it'll all make sense soon. soon. There's a lot more to this story than what networks are reporting, and here are the tweets from Anna right there. This one says, pay attention to this part. After speaking with our police department, the neighborhood Walmart will be closing for the rest of the day, allowing their employees to go home for the day. Socorro PD is actively patrolling and will be monitoring all shopping districts. So what could that reason be? Well, this is the one suspect in custody right there, Patrick, and tweets by the city of Socorro stating that there was no threat to their local Walmart and then abruptly announcing it was closing 2 hours later. Very strange. And this is that quote up there saying that they will be closed, but there is no threat, and just wanting to keep our community's peace of mind to shop comfortably. And then 2 hours later, they posted this one right there saying that they were closing down after speaking with the police. Giartorelli has traveled to El Paso and other border towns many times this year, covering the immigration story and developing sources. She was also the reporter for the controversial report last month that claimed no new border walls have been built by President Trump. Well, note earlier Saturday, a video was posted by an interview of a woman with her daughter who said she saw several individuals. I did talk about that last night. And this is the tweet showing it right there. It's actually mostly in Spanish, but I will let you guys know that basically she states that she saw 3 to 4 armed men, all in black. I saw another video of a single witness, a man, who stated that there was one person all in black with a mask on, but you could see his eyes, so he could tell that he was Caucasian. I don't know what happened here, guys, and I don't think very many people really do understand exactly what took place. All I can say is that the circumstances surrounding it are very strange. Once again, we have a mass casualty event, many people hurt. They are trying to blame one person, a lone wolf, and once again, it is a Caucasian male, somebody who is in his early 20s, someone who is just, the typical Trump supporter. However, as I stated last night, his My Life page showed that he was a registered Democrat. However, that has since now been changed to Republican. Now let's move on to information regarding the Dayton incident. This one's going to be a little bit harder for the left to pin directly on us. This person has been identified. He's a 24-year-old white male. His name is Connor Betts. He's from Bellbrook, Ohio, and he wore satanic patches on his clothing. I've never heard of a satanic Trump supporter. The mass casualty person in Dayton, Ohio, has been identified by police. That suspect is Connor Betts. He was actually taken out by police, but not before he took out 9 innocent people himself. WBNS in Ohio has reported that the suspect in the Dayton incident early Saturday morning, where 9 people were removed from this earth, has been identified as a 24-year-old man. Law enforcement sources told CBS News that the person was identified as 24-year-old Connor Betts of Bellbrook, Ohio. Sources said police were searching his home on Sunday morning, and police said the suspect was taken out by officers in less than 1 minute. Now, I want to take a closer look at this picture of Connor right here so you can see what I saw earlier. Now, in this photo, we clearly have a goat-headed depiction of Satan, and on this side, he has a patch that says, "Against all gods." There's also reports that he was wearing a shirt which made some allusion to the fact that he had no soul, so perhaps that's why he had no fear of doing what he did. But this person right here is clearly not a Trump supporter. We do not have satanic individuals in this movement. So I would really am interested to see how the left is going to spin this and how they're going to play it out. Now, there he is, once again, pictured with those satanic patches on his jacket in a previous photo. And here we have a tweet from Robbie Starbuck. It says, "The patches he's wearing are from a known Satanist apparel company. One of them reads, 'Against all gods.' This is a culture problem, a godless culture of death with no respect for life." And this is a tweet embedded from Heavy.com. Now, the patch "Against all gods" is a black cult product. Now, Betts was wearing a hoodie with a quote from the metal band Acacia Strain. Betts used a .223 caliber high-capacity magazine rifle, and the original story, they had not actually identified him. Here is the mayor speaking about what happened, and this is that shirt that I was talking about. It said, "No heart to feel, no soul to steal," and that quote, again, is from Acacia Strain, a metal band. So very strange that twice in 2 days we would have the exact same type of event. I guarantee you they're going to try to pin this on a Trump supporter. Everyone, watch your back. Keep a lookout for anyone around you. Be safe. And if you have a permit to carry, please, I really, really urge you to do so. All right, now breaking news. It looks like Comey's memos were the key to Mueller's obstruction trap, and new evidence shows they were likely doctored by Comey. What were we told by our favorite Anon several months ago? The memos were fake. Well, it was reported yesterday by the Gateway Pundit that text messages from Peter Strzok to Lisa Page show that the Mueller special counsel in its very first month was already working on an obstruction trap for President Trump to step in. Now, a further analysis indicates that the entire obstruction trap started with Comey's notes and that they were likely doctored by Comey for use by the Mueller gang. Representative Devin Nunes, in an interview on Fox News, said the following: "What we really need to know from Mueller is when did he know about collusion? You know, whether or not it was true. I say it had to have been right when he walked in that door. He may have wanted to check a few things. But I think a larger question is on obstruction of justice. The obstruction of justice charge was about Comey's memos, that he had fired Comey. What I've been trying to say, I said on your podcast last week, I think what the American people need to understand is this investigation is not about collusion, even though they say it was. It wasn't about obstruction of justice because that was about the firing of Comey. I believe what it was that they set an obstruction of justice trap that lasted for the better part of 2 years. As was reported Wednesday, in less than a month after the Mueller special counsel was created, the Mueller gang was already working on their obstruction efforts against the president. However, a further review indicates that the Comey memos were the key to the Mueller obstruction trap, as indicated by Nunes, and they were likely edited by Comey. Judicial Watch uncovered evidence that the FBI went to Comey's house on June 7th in 2017. This visit took place the day before Comey admitted leaking the Trump memos to his friend turned lawyer turned unpaid FBI official Daniel Richman, who then leaked the contents of the memos to the New York Times. I asked a friend of mine to share the content of the memo with a reporter for the New York Times. I asked him to because I thought that might prompt the appointment of a special counsel, Comey said before the Senate Intelligence Committee in June of 2018. One of the problems with the FBI obtaining Comey's memos on June 7th is that the FBI stated they already had obtained those Comey memos back in May. Now, the New York Times published a report on May 16, 2017, based on Comey's memo related to his conversation with Trump about General Flynn, and the next day, Mueller was appointed special counsel. Of course, Comey's memos were classified material that he never should have taken off FBI premises and should have been kept very secure and not leaked. Also, it appears someone is lying about when the FBI obtained those memos. But maybe the corrupt FBI is telling only part of the story. Comey's memos were leaked and used to create the Mueller investigation. Comey provided the Mueller gang memos that he likely edited the day before he spoke to the Senate, and the Mueller gang used this information as the basis for their efforts in setting up President Trump in an obstruction trap. Text messages between corrupt FBI lovers Peter Strzok and Lisa Page show them on June 7, 2017, the day the FBI now reports that they received Comey's memos, discussing where the memos were. They also discussed their obstruction of justice case. This is less than a month since the Mueller investigation was even created. The Mueller gang, including Strzok and Page, are sitting around after lunch waiting for something. They discuss the Comey memos, and then they ask where they are physically located. Within a few hours, the Mueller gang is discussing their obstruction of justice trap against the president, which indicates that the Comey memos are what the entire obstruction of justice trap was built on. Now, it looks like this is why they lied to the FISA court. They were trying to build a case against the president that was all about obstruction of justice charges from the very get-go, and Comey's memos were the key. Judicial Watch states that there were 4 memos picked up at Comey's house on June 7th, and that was the what we talked about the other day. The FBI came in, they got the memos. One of them was dated on February 4th, 2017, another on March 30th, 2017, another on April 11th, 2017, and then another last night at 6:30 p.m., which would have been June 6th, 2017. Now, our research shows that these memos were the only memos related to discussions between Comey and President Trump when no others were in attendance. The other memos had individuals present, which prevented Comey from editing them. These 4 memos picked up on June 7th by the FBI at Comey's house look like they were related to discussions between James Comey and the president alone. That is how he was able to edit them. Note that we make the assumption that the memo related to February 4th is really related to February 14th, and the FBI either lied or committed an error. Comey didn't resubmit any of these conversations he held with others present. Remember also that President Trump warned Comey about leaking documents to the press because there might be tapes of these conversations on May 12, 2017. That's right, if there were tapes, he would not be able to leak them. Now, President Trump had famously said back in May of 2017, James Comey better hope there are not tapes of our conversations before he starts leaking to the press. On June 23, 2017, the president tweeted that he did not have tapes of the conversations, but he did not know if anyone else, i.e. Comey, had tapes. He said, with all the recent reported electronic surveillance, intercepts, unmasking, and illegal leaking of information, I have no idea whether there are tapes or recordings of my conversations with James Comey, but I did not make and do not have any such recordings. The deep state FBI and Mueller gang realized by June 7th that the president didn't have tapes of his discussions with Comey. If there were tapes, they held them and not the president. So on June 7th, Comey gave updated memos to the Mueller gang that were more damning on the president than his previous memos. These updated memos were what the Mueller gang used in their attempts to entrap the president of the United States. The deep state FBI is still withholding these memos from the public, which means there must be something damning to the reputation of the FBI that they are hiding. The whole Russia collusion sham was a setup. Deep state FBI was betting on President Trump obstructing their criminal investigation. Instead, he didn't, and their sham was finally shut down. This is the most corrupt event in U.S. history, and James Comey was in the middle of it, just like he was in the middle of the Hillary exoneration. The falsified Comey memos may have been more important to the Mueller hoax than the fake Steele dossier. We need to see these documents and know the truth. Yep, it all goes back to when Q told us that these memos were fake, and now it's clearly obvious exactly why they chose these memos. Comey could not edit any memos where other people were present. He would only be able to edit memos in which he and the president were there alone if there was no tapes. The FBI figured it out. They went ahead and got these additional memos from Comey, and then they used that as the basis to try and entrap the president. But guess what, guys? It didn't work, and now the Mueller investigation sham is over, and hopefully we can all move on and wait for the arrests of the people who actually broke the law. All right, and finally, guys, looks like just earlier today on Indeed, a place where you can post job postings, looks like they, well, actually on August 3rd it was posted, but it was archived on August 4th. Someone is looking for role players in Georgia, Brunswick, Georgia, on the Glencoe campus. So obviously this is a place that we want to keep our eyes on and make sure that some type of other event does not take place. Like I said earlier in the broadcast, keep your head on a swivel. Make sure that you know your surroundings. If you see something, say something, and help the law enforcement agencies that are going to be found catching themselves in the middle of these events know that it is not us. This is clearly events that are orchestrated by the deep state. All right, folks, I think that's all that I have for you today. I want to thank everyone for joining me. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless.